Hey Fitheads, today we have Rebecca Louise, a fitness entrepreneur. She built her own app. She built her own empire, basically. This was a super inspiring hour.
This was, way more inspiring entrepreneurial inspiration, but also like get your work done, get life done.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
It made me want to do push-ups, even though we were just talking about building a business for a lot of it.
Yeah, it made me want to not get discouraged by not being able to climb Mount Everest.
Oh yeah, by the way, she's doing that too.
Welcome to Total Fitheads.
Serious fitness for not so serious people.
Hey Fitheads, welcome, and thanks. Welcome to Rebecca Louise. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Heck yeah. I was checking out your stuff online, and I'm already motivated.
Good. Well, that's a good start. I'm glad about that.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started in the fitness space.
Oh, wow. Well, I played sport growing up as a kid. I was a South of England field hockey player. I was sports captain at school. So anything that I could, be involved in sports wise, I wanted to be part of that. And when I came to America, oh my goodness, like 10 years ago, I originally came to get my commercial pilot's license. When I got my license, that actually wasn't really my ultimate dream and goal. I thought that if you got your pilot's license, you'd be traveling around the world, in a jet. But it turns out that you're not really doing the most fun, exciting trips when you first get started. But I did grow up loving Southern California, and I watched Laguna Hills on MTV when I grew up. One day, Lauren Conrad and my OC crew were going to be out driving down in my convertible down PCH. And I came out here to get my commercial pilot's license, and I just figured out a way. I got myself a visa to come out and work out here. And I was just going for interviews. I was thinking my British accent, it's going to be great in Hollywood, going to be able to be a TV presenter, TV host. Turns out there's loads of other British people here as well, so it's not really that easy. But I did go for an audition to be on a YouTube channel. And YouTube was like real starting out. This was probably about like 8 years ago. And it was just starting out. And I went for an audition to be a presenter on a fitness show. And I didn't have my personal training license at the time. And I'd never really done much TV work. But I went for the interview. And I just found out that my one talent in life is talking and working out at the same time. And I'm like, I am in. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I was on the YouTube channel for about a year and a half, and it grew to, at the time it was 600,000 subscribers. Now it's over 3 million, but they stopped filming after a year and a half. And they were like, you know what? It was just like a passion project. I got paid $40 per episode. But I'm super grateful for that channel for giving me the ability to, show what I'm really good at. And for about a year, I didn't make any videos because I felt like I was competing against something that I currently built. And I was just making content that was just for purchase. And then someone said to me, you've got to get your videos out there. You've got to get content out there. People are still going to purchase things from you, even by getting your content out. So 6 years ago, created my own YouTube channel. I've released a new workout every single week for the last 6 years. Absolutely there's been no break whatsoever. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. Right now we're doing live every day. And it's just grown from there, and just being able to create an app from it, and merchandise, and been able to travel the world filming workout videos in really exotic, unique locations, sometimes with, seals in the background, sometimes with tigers and lions. So it's been an amazing journey. And I think we're just getting started.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That's crazy. Okay. There's so much I want to unpack. First of all, 6 years ago, and you had a paywall for your videos. No one was doing that. Like, that's a thing now. But you were at the forefront of that.
Well, I feel old when I say I've been on YouTube for like 8-9 years, because I'm like, wow, that makes me feel really old. But I've grown up, being a creator, and just, it's been an amazing experience to be part of.
So cool. And that you've been so consistent. Geez, that's like the one thing that every YouTuber hears from analytics talks and YouTube newsletters is like, you just got to keep doing it. And you are relentless.
Mm-hmm. I really found that consistency with anything and being successful in life, if you want to transform your body, you have to be consistent. If you want to have a great relationship, you have to be consistent in that, in business, it's all about consistency. You don't necessarily have to be the smartest or the most talented. In fact, that consistency, I believe, will outweigh talent, because you could be the most talented person out there making videos, but if you don't make them, if you don't keep putting them up, you will never get anywhere. So it doesn't matter about how great you are. I feel it's about how consistent you can be.
How did you know? I mean, I feel like, especially, way back then, a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
uh, I feel like a lot of the fitness industry was like, oh, you can't give your workout videos away for free. This is back then. How did you know back then to just put content out? Because I know some old trainers and old video producers and stuff, and they were like, every time I make a video, I need to get paid off of it, blah, blah, blah. Whereas it seems like you went the opposite route, and it works. Obviously, it's working now because everyone's home working out all the time. Everyone's giving stuff away for free. So how did you know that? Did you just get struck by inspiration, or where'd that come from?
I think it's exposure. I was on a YouTube channel before that wasn't paid, right? I got paid for the episode, but $40 per episode, it's not that much. And I think that I just saw how much my other accounts, Facebook and Instagram and all of those, I got me exposure. So it got people to see me. And originally, when I stopped that channel, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to make a subscription and people are going to have to pay for it. But what happened is, unless you want to do Facebook ads or if you want to do other things that are going to have to be paid, I've built my whole business organically. And occasionally we've done a few Facebook ads here and there, but really giving away free content gets you exposure. What people pay for is organization. They pay for an organized fitness plan. So, you open up an app and it tells you what workout to do, how many, reps, how often to do it. It gives you the full plan. My YouTube videos, I have 1 hour a week. They're 10 minutes, but it's not a plan. It's not structure. So I don't feel like I am, taking anything away from my own app. I'm just exposing more people to my personality and my style of workouts. And if you like it, you're going to join me in the app because you want to have real results that's going to have structure, organization, and there's so much more stuff in the app. That's what it is. It's not necessarily like an upsell. It's just there's more value inside of the app. A free 10-minute ab workout once a week, right, isn't going to hurt my app. It's actually going to help build it.
It's interesting because a lot of times content creators, they get sort of like tricked or trapped into doing work for exposure, air quotes. And sometimes that exposure doesn't amount to anything. They're just doing a lot of work. But it sounds like you really figured out an interesting way to use exposure and to leverage it well. I remember I was watching an interview with Ed Sheeran. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a musician. And somebody asked him about streams and pirating his songs or whatever. And he was like, oh, I don't really care because I see that as an ad for my concert. And I make money off of ticket sales to my concert. So if someone wants to steal my music or whatever, that's great because then it's, free ads for me. It's just disseminating information like that. It's interesting how far it's come. How are you liking are you doing daily lives because of COVID or lockdown, or are you just as live workout at home the new era?
You know what? It's really interesting because YouTube has had the live feature for I don't know how long, but people weren't using it. And when we went into lockdown, I started to do it more. In fact, I went 30 days of lives in May and we did a whole 30-day program. And what it did is it made people feel connected. There's something different with the live because you're actually interacting with people on the chat. They feel like everybody's doing the workout together. There's like a sense of community. And so we've been doing lives, 1, maybe 2 a week, all the time in lockdown. And right now we're in the middle of our 12 days of lives and giveaways. So every day, 7 a.m. I'm getting up live at 7 a.m. because that's the best time for, my followers to be on there. And that's the other thing. It's like I could do it at 10 where it might fit more into my schedule. But if you look at your Google Analytics, it's going to tell you when is the best time to post and when is the best time to go live. So if that means I have to get up at 6 a.m. and get my things set up, and I'm live every day right now at 7 a.m. And it's funny because by the end of the video, the light's really coming up. So I got to kind of adjust the light a little bit through the middle. But yeah, I'm just doing 12 days of lives every day from the 13th to 24th of December, live at 7 a.m. We give away something every day. It's a different body part. It's fun. It's Christmas music. I've changed the set so it's Christmas. So it just feels good. People want to come back every single day because other people in the chat are holding them accountable. It's like, hey, were you here yesterday? And what I've noticed is that some people actually come onto the chat and they say, I can't do this workout right now, but I just wanted to come on and say hello, which is
That's cool.
Amazing because they feel like they want to be part of it right there, which is just such a beautiful thing.
That's really cool. And so you see the same people coming back and building a community even when you're not there. That's like a true army.
Yeah, I know their names, and we have a special Facebook group just for those people who are on the app. And you just, you know what they're posting, and, you just have those people who are leaders in your own community who kind of, help rally everybody else along. I mean, they come to you with ideas. Hey, we want to do this. We want to do that. I'm like, all right, no problem. Let's make it happen.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's usually my measuring stick for if you like have an army to do your bidding. But like, how much of that was you facilitating it versus like you just have this space for it to happen and it grew on its own?
You know what? I think one of the biggest things that I have realized, and I think that COVID and these lives has really made me aware of it, and I wasn't really aware of it at the beginning, is the people, knowing the people's names who are there. I really feel like when I first got started, I was putting out videos, I was replying to comments, but I wasn't making the connection to those people like directly. I wasn't remembering the people's names. And it might seem like, well, you've got all of these people, how would you know? But you just do know. If you're paying attention, if you're looking at the chat, if you're looking at Facebook, who's tagging you. I've been very aware of it this year. And I know the girls' names. And we also did a live event, kind of like a mini Tony Robbins, what he's doing right now, the UPWs. I did a mini version of that with a whole Zoom. I mean, we went full out. But those people who turned up there and I got to see their faces on the Zoom, like it was just more of a connection. So I think that that's one thing that if you're a brand new creator or YouTuber or whatever you're doing, is that even if you just have 10 people on the line and they're watching your lives, who are those people? Who are those people? What are their names? Are they coming back? And I've really been woken up to that this year. And I think maybe in the past, I've been so focused on, right, how do I make a better workout video? How do I make a better PDF? How do I make the app better? Rather than being like, who are the people who are behind it? I think that's just one of the biggest things I've learned this year.
That's such a cool insight. And how many of these are people that also have transformations where being in this community actually made a difference either physically or emotionally in their life?
Oh my goodness, so much. I mean, we really do a lot of mindset. I got, introduced to personal development about 7 years ago, listening to Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, all of the greats, right? Jim Rohn's one of my faves. And I introduced that into my community, because they are not used to personal development because they're coming for fitness. They're not into that world. But what we've been able to do is really change people's mindsets, not just their physical result, how they eat, but their mentality, like just being more positive. And even though that it's a fitness and nutrition app, if you come to it, what you'll get from it is a hell of a lot of positivity in terms of like mindset, but not just like surface level stuff, like serious, good, deep personal development that will take you on a transition to really change your life, not just, your body or, how you eat.
And how important do you think that is? Like the apps that don't include mindset, like how much are they lacking? And what does mindset contribute to a transformation?
Yeah, I mean, I say 20% fitness, 80% nutrition, 100% mindset. It's all about how you look at things. So, when you look at things differently, the things that you look at will change. If you want to get better, you've got to get better. If you want to change, you got to change, right? Jim Rohn quote. And so mindset for me is really what helped transform my life. And yes, I feel like if you're strong in your workouts and you can actually bring that same strength where you're holding a plank and you're just like, oh my goodness, I've got this. If you are aware and that part of your brain is woken up about personal development, you can use that strength in your real world. And that's how we kind of use the workouts to reflect, to bring you strength, to bring you bravery. Like you were brave today. Like you did a new workout move you'd never done before. Like you held a plank for longer. You did more pulses. You increased your weight. Like that is showing you physical strength, but it's also mental strength. And if we can teach that to you while you're working out, how would you feel in the real world where you're in a conflict with someone or, someone's cut you off in traffic? Like, but how can you be calm about it? How can you just, stand up for yourself and be strong and not let things, emotionally get in the way of you being the best version of yourself? So I kind of try to link the fitness stuff with the mindset to make it more relatable, because people who are brand new to personal development are like, doesn't make any sense to them. Right? It's just new. It's like, well, if somebody cut me off, I'm going to be mad at them on the freeway, right? It's like, well, let's not give your energy away. We got to save your energy so that you can, give it out to the rest of the world. So I think that's really been a major part, and why our community is how it is and how they show up, how they do.
It sounds like almost a meditation, like the benefits that you're showing to your community are the same benefits that I hear from, oh, this is why you should start meditating. That's super interesting.
We have some meditating too. We've done some meditating lives. We have a meditation section in the app as well. So the mindset section of the app has different programs, you know, how to deal with anxiety, 10 steps to getting results, like different videos that they get to go through. And there's also a meditation in there. And we've also just released a gratitude journal in there as well. So each day they can go on and log what they're grateful for, their I am affirmations. They do that in the morning. And then there's something that they can do at the end that says, what did I do great today? Or how can I be a better version of myself tomorrow? So that's also just released in the app. And I've been, you know, waiting for that part, because when you feel good about yourself, you have more energy to exercise. It all like links together. And when you exercise, you feel better. And when you eat better, you have more clarity. You've fueled up. You're not, you know, running on nothing. So they really do all intertwine together, which is why I think that, you know, they're all super important.
It's funny. Now I'm picturing like next time I'm in an argument, I'm just going to drop into a plank.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. All right, I'm fine. Okay, now we can talk.
I got this.
Now, you made an app. Are you an app developer?
No, I'm not an app.
How was it like? I'm assuming you reached out to someone. What's it like building a team like that? How did you sort of give that away? How did you find it? How did you find people you like to work with?
You know what? It's funny because I had this thought this morning. I was standing in my bathroom upstairs, and I was reflecting back, because I've got a new update that's coming out in the app right now. I was reflecting back at what a nightmare I had been in the past, because I was learning how to work with app developers. And also app developers can almost make you feel like you're going insane and you're losing it. And it's all me. So I own 100% of my company. I run it by myself. I don't have a partner that helps me. I employ people, but it's not like I have another girlfriend, or if I have like a boyfriend or something, that we do this together. It is solely me. So it's me going out and finding these app developers. And I'm sure that a lot of them are not used to working with women. And there would be times where, you know, the app would go down and I would lose it, because my biggest concern was my people. And I'm being hit up hard on Instagram. The app's down, it's not working. And I'm crying. I'm hysterical, right? I'm a girl once, so I have more emotion. I'm in my 20s. I'm trying to launch this business. And I've got this guy in, you know, who's not in America, who probably doesn't quite understand my language at the same time. There's probably a communication barrier. And he's like, you know, this is just too difficult, right? Would I go find somebody else? And you're just like, oh my goodness. So the amount of just web developers that I have been through, and I'm not saying that it's all their fault or it's all my fault. I take 100% responsibility. I'm learning, I'm growing, but you get taken for a ride. And it's all of these things that trying to push you off what your goal is. In fact, I even had a manager probably 5 years ago that told me that I wasn't ready to have an app. They were like, yeah, you're not ready to have an app. You don't have a big enough following or whatever. And like, I look back now and I'm like, Ma, if I had listened to that person, like I make more than they, no, it's not about the money, but I'm pretty sure I make more in 1 month right now than they do in the whole year. And that person was telling me that I shouldn't make an app. And so what I did is I was working with website developers, and then they helped me lead on to somebody who was it was all referrals. It's like to the next person, to the next person. And I think I've been through 5 different app developers. The first thing that I got through looked like a 5-year-old had drawn it. And it's not cheap mistakes. These are not cheap, not mistakes. I like to call them learning lessons, you know? So it's just been an evolution of like, how can I find a better team? How can I find somebody better? And then just understanding expectations. And then knowing that if somebody says it's going to take 3 months, it's going to take 6, and knowing that in your head. So I was supposed to have all of these things out by my app by the 11th of September 2020. It's not going to be all done until probably May of next year. So it's being okay with that. It's like, great, how can I spin that into something more exciting? Well, now I get to have a new fun update that comes out every couple of months that keeps people engaged. Just spin it. And so it literally is, it's been referral to referral. Some things have worked out, some things that haven't. I mean, I've hired email marketers, I've hired web developers, people for doing ClickFunnels. I mean, you name it. I've tried everything. And so I've spent a lot of money, but that's just part of the process. And knowing that what your outcome is always is to produce a really great product that people love, and that you're proud of. I think you're always searching to make it better. So you're always looking for more.
And how much, now that you've been in it and learned app development and how to make it happen, like how much do you feel you were misled in the beginning, whether it's how much things cost or how long it took to make things or how difficult things were, versus now when you really are in the know?
Yeah, I think it's timing. I think knowing the time, and also app developers, they'll get you in at a certain price, and then you want to add something, and all of a sudden
you wanted me to finish the job. Yeah, well, that'll
yeah. But it's a little add-on. So they'll do the whole app. It's like a great price, and then there's this one thing that you want added on. And for some reason, it costs half the amount that the whole app costs, because now they've got you locked in. And so I think that I'm always learning more. I mean, like, I really feel like even with the app developers I have right now, like, we're still learning how to communicate and how to work best. They're in a different time zone. And it's like, hey, how do we need to set up, a call on the first of the month? It's just about having organization, strategy. We work on Slack, but things just get missed. And it's like having to pick your battles. The other day I had an app that came out and it had the wrong description in it. It had a description that I didn't write. And even though I wrote one, they didn't use it for their update. And they were like, well, it was too long. So instead of them coming back to me and saying, hey, you need to make this shorter, they just decided that they needed to get it up. They loaded it and they used their own one. So what I learned from that was saying, hey, I totally understand that you're being proactive. I appreciate that. Next time, don't worry about it going live. It's more important that I have got the correct description, because it fits how I speak to my audience. And
also, you're fired.
You can't though. I mean, transferring app developers is a nightmare. Like, I mean, that's just one costly thing and something crazy in itself. So yeah, I mean, there's been a few completely sleepless nights where it's gone down. There's times where the app goes down.
So you're saying it's important to get it right from the start, and also it's impossible to get it right from the start.
Exactly. And it's just like, hey, just let it go. Some things you just got to let go. And you got to keep saying thank you, because I don't think that they get enough thank yous. And I've definitely been bad at that in the past, of just saying what's not working rather than saying, oh my goodness, this looks amazing. I'm really excited about this. Thank you. Done a great job. And can you do X, Y, and Z? Because sometimes I'll get it back and there's like 10 errors and I'm getting frustrated because you're making errors, whereas it's just the approach. But that comes with personal development and learning how to be a better human being.
Yeah, it's like the app is their art and you just tear it up. And so it makes sense that they would also just want to be like, oh, I made the button work. Are you happy about that?
Yeah. What about all the rest of the stuff that is working? Can you make an app, lady? No, I don't think so. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. And what about, like, because you mentioned that it looked like a bad drawing in the beginning. Are you hiring visual designers too? How much of a say are you having in the look?
Yeah, I'm pretty on the look. I mean, I'll get all of the designs. They'll send me what the design looks like. I mean, we just updated the app in July of this year and it looks so much better. It's so different. And then you go, the first one was like terrible, but the one before that was, even bad. It's just like how an iPhone upgrades, right? You just get one kind of version of it and then people are just trying to make it better and better. So yeah, I'm very heavy on the design process and how everything works. I'm very I'm not just like, oh, go make this and it's fine. I'm checking it because I don't want it to go out because I'm the last person to look at it. It's so important for me. And if it's your business, if it's your product, ultimately you're the one who has to check it.
Right. Okay. And you also, outside of the app, do one-on-one coaching, right?
I work with a network marketing company as well. So I do like nutrition coaching there. So I have that business. And then I have an inner transformation program that's all about mindset. So we do that 3 times a year. We're doing another one in January. So it's all about mindset and inner transformation. I don't really do much one-on-one coaching anymore. I basically feed that all down through my other coaches that I have.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're building an empire and also like juggling a million things, it sounds. How are you recovering even? What's that?
You just make lists or how do you do it?
I'm very organized.
Post-it notes?
Yeah, very organized. I have Google Calendar. That's, my absolute savior. And then I use an app called the Things app, which literally creates like a list. It's an electronic list that you have, and everything is organized in there. I have a couple of people that work for me that help out at the same time. But yeah, I'm very anal with like how I like things. Like, we have a podcast that comes out every week. We have a blog, we have a new workout. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we have going on. But I love what I do. I don't really feel like, using the word work or job. Like, I love it. I would much prefer on a Saturday night to sit in and write a blog post than I would, I mean, I like a mixture of both, don't get me wrong, but I do absolutely love what I do. So it doesn't really feel like work.
Do you have someone writing blog posts for you now?
We've gone through transitions of that, but it's difficult to get someone to write in your words. I mean, I do have people that will write it and then I will go in and edit. The last couple of weeks I've written them myself. It just depends, who I've got around and who's kind of working with me at the time.
Yeah, it sounds like you're at the top of a very big pyramid, like with people underneath you. How big is your team at this point?
Yeah, I mean, we have a whole app team. We have somebody that's in charge of emails. I have someone who does Pinterest, somebody that uploads all of the workouts to YouTube, does all the comments for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I have a chief business officer who basically just does whatever she needs to do when it's when we've got things happening. And then I have somebody else who's full-time that inputs all the stuff into the app. And then also helps with blog posts and is a bit of a personal assistant and all that fun stuff. So I used to have more people, and honestly, I've really streamlined and streamed it back because I was traveling so much in 2019 and I haven't been traveling that much this year. I went to 11
travel?
Yeah, I went to 2019, I went to 11 countries. So this year I've just been around more. So I've had more flexibility to be able to do, more stuff.
And that team you built over the 6 years that you were doing your own public YouTube stuff?
Yeah, and I've gone through a lot of different people who've worked for me as well. I mean, it's just finding the right person, finding the right team. Again, it's just like with finding the right app developers, people who are in it for the long run, people who see the vision. I've had a lot of people who've been like interns who've come in and want to learn how to run a business or do social media, and then they've gone on and done other things. So, I'm used to that.
Are they interested in doing social media or fitness social media specifically?
I think that they were interested in a fun little job where they got to have more freedom, a little bit of travel, some fun stuff, maybe just kind of like learning some skills here and there. I also have somebody full-time on customer service, and that girl's worked for me for like 3 years now, I think. So she's my like longest employee. I have someone else who does all the editing. Obviously I have a videographer. So yeah, I've had some people that have been with me for years, and then some people who, just got started in July.
So who's coming up with the workouts?
I come up with all the workouts. All the workouts is me. When I'm doing my lives, it's mostly freestyle. I just see how my body feels and I go, right, we're going to crush this for another 30 seconds. It's burning right now. I'm going to keep on going. All of my stuff that's actually filmed is all timed because we have an editor that, puts all of the time and the workouts and all that stuff. But the live stuff is a bit more free fall. We have a bit of fun with it. And I just kind of go on how my body's feeling at the time.
Oh, that's scary. Improvising just like a workout. That's insane to me.
Yeah, I won't have any notes. I'll just walk on and just do a workout. I'll just have the name, legs.
Wow.
Legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to ask you on your website, it says, what exercise burns the most fat for your butt? What exercise burns the most fat for your butt?
Well, I like bridges. Bridges are one of my favorites. In fact, we did like a 10-minute section on some
10-minute bridge? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were going for a
10-minute video of her bridging.
Oh, I had a heart attack. Oh my God.
10 minutes of bridges, different things, like single leg bridges and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's that's what's so fun about the lives is, well, I just don't have a structure. I do an exercise and I go, well, it's burning. It hurts a little bit. Right. Let's go for another 30 seconds. Cause I know that everybody's going to be like, crying. And I think the lives are actually more challenging than the other workouts because I'm going on how my body feels rather than how many reps I'm doing.
Yeah. We got to keep up with you. Jeez.
But if they can type the comment, my butt is burning, then they're probably not done with the workout, right? They could probably.
They're only allowed to type when we take a break. Water break is typing. Anybody who's typing during it, I know.
Cheating.
That's a no now.
Oh, that's funny. I saw in your bio that you focus on cellular nutrition. I feel I have a lot to learn there because I have no idea what it is. Can you give us some background?
Yeah, just feeding your body on a cellular level. So making sure that all of your cells are being fed so that you're getting the best nutrition. When I was in my teens, I struggled with anorexia. I was down at 86 pounds. I'm like 105 pounds right now. I'm 5'2". So, 20 pounds lighter, I was really struggling, and I would just eat seeds. My hair was falling out. My skin was bad. And I just, grew up in a great household, but didn't understand nutrition. I mean, I didn't even know what kale was until I came to California. That didn't exist in England. And I'd never had sushi until I moved to London at like 19. And so I think I was just not used to feeding my body the best nutrition. And around that time, when I was 16, 17, that was when the craze size 0 was going on, right? Everybody wanted to be like super thin, and like that was in the Olsen twins, people on catwalks, runways, like scary. Like that was the look, like that, being really, really skinny. And I got really bullied at school. So the only thing I could really control was my food. I went off to London, kind of got over that, but I was just still having cereal for breakfast or no breakfast, and didn't understand, how much protein to eat. I thought if you ate protein that you're going to get big and you're going to get bulky. And so, finding a nutrition plan that feed my body on a cellular level, giving me all of the nutrients that I needed for energy, good hair, good skin. That's really when, I started to feel confident in myself. I got abs, I started to realize that food was good. It wasn't something that I had to have a bad relationship with.
And how often do you find people that are following your program, using your app, had the same background and needed the awakening from you?
Oh my goodness. So many people, it's so common, and people feel like, well, if you're really skinny, then like lucky for you. I have one girl, she's actually now one of my amazing trainers on the app, and she's a coach. But before, she'd been doing my workouts, I think for like 4 or 5 years, and really struggled with, bulimia, anorexia, was severely underweight. And just a week before I met her, she had a job. She didn't love it. She was drinking a bottle of wine a night, just not having like no breakfast, hardly any lunch, like an orange for lunch or something crazy. And in fact, no lunch. And when I met her, she turned around to me one day after getting started on the nutrition plan, and she was like, I have not had lunch since I was 14 years old. What? And this girl was 23 at the time. She'd not had lunch since she was 14 years old because she was addicted to being thin. And she watched a lot of she's from Scotland originally, and she watched a lot of American movies. And also the same kind of thing with me. It's like the Olsen twins. That was the in look. And oh my goodness, I just started bawling because for the first time in her life, she's having lunch. I mean, that's just amazing, just to get someone to be able to have lunch and enjoy food. And now she's up 20 pounds. She looks amazing. She's strong. She's confident. She's a full-time trainer and coach. She was an engineer. She went to she had full scholarship for Caltech, which is huge. And now, she's transitioned her life into helping other people feel, better in their body. So, my yes to doing something has just changed somebody else's life. And now she's changing so many people's lives around us. So it's amazing what you can do with the good nutrition.
Yeah, you're so right. It is very common. I feel like all of my dancer friends had the same experience. I certainly did. I needed to meet you when I was in high school and college. Like I needed that awakening. And it's interesting you tie it into culturally, right? I even look back at like a Mandy Moore music video and think like, wow, that girl is going to break in half. But that's what we were looking at. That was like the style. That's what was normal and what you wanted to achieve. Have you noticed that like young people now have like a safer or healthier mindset because, it's more acceptable to have muscle on Instagram even?
Yeah. And it's funny because now we're going for a transition where, a couple of years ago, it was about the 6-pack and being like super ripped. And now it's like flat stomach, curvy hips. And like, we'll go through like the whole transition. And in another 5 years, it's going to be something slightly different. I mean, you look at the 1920s to the 70s, 60s. I mean, it just keeps changing. I think right now, at least that we have, a more positive role models on social media with being, a normal average size body. But then there's the trolls. There's trolls that people that say stuff, and then other people are reading those comments that I don't think help. So I don't think that people who are, struggling with anorexia is less now, but I just think that there's more better role models out there for other people. And, you've got people who have the tiny waist, who really have the waist trainers on, and then they have the curvy hips. And it's all depends on your body. Like we're born with a body. Like I just have a fast metabolism. So I could probably eat what my mum would eat and she would gain weight and I would probably just burn it off. So some of it is your metabolism. Some of it is your life choices and also choices that you've made over a long period of time. But I do feel like there is a better influence out there on social media. I know it still happens where people are still struggling with weight, and maybe even more so because it's so in your face on social media.
What's the number one thing you see people coming to wanting to fix?
Abs. People just love their abs. I'm like, what workout you want to do? Abs. We want to do abs. We want to just do abs. We want a muffin top area. Abs. Like at the end of the live, I might just say like, hey, what do you guys want to do as like the last song? Like, do you want to dance? Do you want to do some arms? Do you want to do some weights? Always some abs. So yeah, that's the thing I get most of all. Give me some abs.
It's interesting that you say it's 80% nutrition, 20% fitness, because that's how I feel about abs. Like, you just eat differently. I can't give you a workout for your abs.
Yeah, 100%. Abs made in the kitchen.
And right now you have a 31-day holiday challenge going on.
Yes. So it's really fun. So every month on the app, we have a new workout challenge. So each day you open up the app, you click on whatever day it is, and it gives you a 28-minute workout plus a warm up and cool down. It's going to give you the recipe of the day. It gives you a fun little motivation quote as well. You can do all of these activities and share them on social media and earn points for it. So it's kind of cool. You earn points. You can spend those points in our store on like resistance bands or merchandise. And so it's just a fun challenge that we're doing. There's a free version as well on YouTube. But you get like a whole PDF printout calendar with recipes and journaling and all sorts of things just to help you stay on track on the calendar on the month. And every month is different. So January we'll have a new 31-day challenge.
And it's not just fitness. It sounds like a whole lifestyle challenge.
It really is. It is lifestyle. It's transformation. It's mindset, getting the recipes in there as well. So yeah, it's not just the fitness, but massive part of it really is the community. I mean, they love it. They love turning up to the lives. I have a little advent calendar that I move the little, hat onto the next day. And like today I was like, the first day I was like, shall I move it now or tomorrow? And everyone's like, tomorrow. Don't move it now. Don't move it now. I'm like, okay, I got it. So it's kind of like a fun thing that, the community gets to do together.
Very cool. And are these I know that you're programming for people, whether they're just getting into fitness or have been following your app for a while, but what about you? You've been doing fitness for a long time. And are you doing something, are you following these challenges? Are you doing something outside of your regular live streams?
What's really funny is that I got in the best shape when at the beginning of quarantine, when I was doing my workouts for 30 days live on YouTube. And I was like, wow, these really work. I was amazed. I was like, I'm in the best shape now because I've had a trainer before. I've had a trainer. I've wanted to grow my glutes. I actually got, for me, just a bit too big. I was super muscly. Like 4 years ago, I was really shredded and just didn't feel right with me. And I had a trainer. I've had trainers before, and I love going to a trainer and I work out. But I'm like, seriously, there's something about these workout videos. I don't know what it is, or if it just works with my body. But I love it. I do love going to hot yoga. That's one of my extras. So I will normally do the live in the morning, maybe go to a hot yoga class in the evening. So they're my two things. But when people say, what workout do you do? I'm like, I literally do my workout. I might just use a heavier weight when I'm just doing it when I'm not talking, because it's really difficult to use, 20-pound weight doing deadlifts and talking at the same time. I want to make sure that my form is right and all that fun stuff. So I do the same exercises. I mean, it's the same exercises. It just might be out in my garden or in my house. I'm just doing it myself. And everything else is closed right now, apart from my hot yoga studio, who's staying open. Thank you.
Nice.
Is that a secret or?
Well, I don't think, they're not really keeping it that secret anymore. Like before it's like, right, you have to go around the back. And now they're like, just enjoy yoga.
Whatever.
Just make it hot enough to kill COVID and then it's fine.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Wait, you're a yoga teacher too, right?
I do have my certification in yoga teaching as well. Yes, I did that 2 years ago.
Right. So that's your fitness is I want to know what your day-to-day is like too. How does this all tie into being a boss entrepreneur and still staying looking like you do?
Oh my goodness. I wrote, I guess today's a great day. I, got up, I did my live at 7 a.m. and then I was on a phone call about somebody who was pitching me to use their service about converting carts. So I do all of that stuff. I'm like, I want to learn, I'm reading stuff on Shopify about how I can make my business better. I'm looking at things and how I can improve it. There was an issue with the app for January. I was fixing that today with one of my developers. Then I was on a call with all of my coaches, all my BTS coaches. I've got 9 coaches that help people one-on-one with nutrition plans once they're inside of the app. So I had an hour's call with them today to see how their year went, how they feel, things to get excited about for 2020. I wrote a blog today and I'm going to get to chat with you guys, which is amazing. I've got to send an email out today. And then I think this evening I'm going to be taking some friends out on a boat. So just having a nice sunset. So that's my day today, but every day is completely different. But it always includes, doing some content, checking things that are business, maybe podcast, filming my own podcast, filming some stuff, and then just putting it out in the world. So I'm either filming content or I'm putting it out.
It's like a lot of moving parts.
Funny how far you talk a lot about like food for energy or being productive. I find helps my energy some of the most. And some of the times when I've like my friends have been in ruts or whatever, I ask them what they're doing and they're like, nothing, just laying around playing video games. And I kind of feel like a jerk saying like, well, you should get up and do something. But it really feels like that's, at least for me, like getting something accomplished, doing something productive that helps me happier and more focused for the next thing. Do you find that your audience gets that or are you just giving them this magic and they don't even know it?
Yeah, and I think that everyone's going to listen to it at a different point. Like you can hear someone say, read this book, read this book, read this book. And then 6 months later, they come back to you and they say, oh my goodness, I've just read this book. So-and-so recommended it to me. I'm like, I've been telling you about this book for months and months and months and you've not been listening. So I think that repetition is the mother of all skills. And that if you just keep showing up, you're going to hear a light bulb moment. You're going to hear something that's going to trigger. And you just have to find that burning desire inside of you. Like there is no way that I would just be able to go out today. My blog is due, right? It's just due. That's just something that I am programmed and I'm committed to doing, that if a Thursday my blog comes out, I have to write it. Some people, they'll be like, oh, it doesn't matter this week. It does matter, right? I show up even when I'm tired, even when I'm struggling, even when I'm going through something, difficult in my life. I know I went through a divorce 5 years ago. And sometimes the last thing that I wanted to do was get on a Zoom call and talk to my friends and do a workout. But I did it anyway because I knew that the time was going to pass where I was going to feel better. Heartbreak, eventually disappears and you're either going to have something great at the end or you're not. So it's like, I'm going to go through this difficult time. I may as well have a fun business and something that I have to show for at the end, or I'm going to go through this difficult time. I'm going to still be difficult at the end of it. And so I think that when you just keep showing up, it starts to click and you start to hear those things. I say that the 3 ways to show up. Number 1, you get your body in the room. How many times have we been to a workout? Well, you're there, but you're thinking about what you're having for dinner or this list that you're doing. And you're like, did I even just do that squat that everybody else did? Like sometimes you're like in autopilot mode, right? And you don't really get a good workout in because you're going through the motions. Second way is you turn up to a workout and your brain is there with you. You're like, oh my goodness, I'm in the zone. I'm focused. I'm in it. And then the third way is you turn up, your body's there, your mind's there, and you bring people with you because that's how you become a leader. That's how you have accountability. That's how you have influence. And so for me, I don't just show up in the workout now. For me, I'm showing up for all of those other people. So maybe if you're someone who's joining one of my lives for the first time, if you show up, you could have a ripple effect on your friends and family for them showing up as well. So that's why it's so important, not just to show up for yourself, but also to show up for other people who are around you.
Love that.
So inspired. I gotta go lift something.
I gotta go do it for my mom. A lot of it sounds like it's like habit formation is a lot of what you're doing, but you're never calling it that because that's such a blah thing to say. But it's bigger than that. But it sounds like, yeah, just like get in the habit of doing it this way, and that's worked for you.
Yeah, and you just got to do what you need to do. Like, one of my visions and goals was to always retire my parents. My mum actually retires tomorrow. I retired my dad a year ago. So I'm fired up for that. That was a vision. I didn't just say I'd like to retire. Everyone would like to retire their parents. Let's be real. Everyone would like to have $1 million. But like, are you committed to doing it? And I think that it's not deciding, it's committing. right? If loads of people can decide, I'm going to start a workout program, I'm going to start this side hustle, I'm going to decide to do this, right? But unless you commit and you say, I'm going to do it no matter what, because the universe is going to come along and it's going to punch you and it's going to try and knock you off like every single time. All you have to do is get back up again. It's not that difficult to be successful. I really don't think it is. It's just that most people quit. As long as you don't quit, you can't fail. Like there's loads of things that have tried to push me off and try to like deter me for, you know, the success that I have right now. It's not been an easy road, but I have made it easy by just saying, well, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm going to get back up and I'm just going to figure it out. Everything is no problem. Just find the solution, because the more times that you allow the universe to knock you down, right, and you don't get back up again, it becomes difficult. It becomes hard, right? But my work now is effortless. I work hard at it, but it feels effortless because I'm just enjoying it and I'm doing it no matter what. It's not that I have to do it. It's that I get to do it. I get to write this blog post today. I get to create this content because I'm going to share it with somebody and it's going to change someone's life. You know, my blog today is about, you know, the 4 top romantic comedies, Christmas holiday movies, right? It's because I spent all weekend watching movies and wrapping up the gifts for all of our merchandise. It took me like 15 hours because I was wrapping everything up. I wanted to make it look really cute to all the people who bought our new clothing. And so I was like, great, I'm going to watch some romantic movies. Now I'm like, well, those are the movies I want to tell other people in my audience about. So I get to write that blog post and to share it with other people. So when you change the language from I have to get to, it changes your whole world and it makes it more exciting to do things.
Yeah, I gotta go build a business. That's awesome. And work out, man. Very cool. You mentioned you have a podcast too. We're on a podcast platform. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I have a podcast. We've just done our 100th episode. It's called It Takes Grit, and it's about all the grit that you need to get to where you want to be. The book, actually, It Takes Grit, came out in September. Hit a bestseller on Amazon, so that was really exciting to see. It's just really cool to have a book in my hand that like had all my thoughts and ideas down onto a piece of paper. So yeah, it's just an amazing podcast that teaches people, you know, and we have so many guests on there that come on and they talk about their own journey and their own story about where they were and how they got to where they are, because loads of people are struggling to bridge that gap. It's like, hey, I know where I'm at. I know where I want to go, but how do I get there? And it's just about slowly closing that gap. So I just love to share, you know, other entrepreneurs, people who've been through things and the grit that it's taken to get to where they want to be. Because a lot of times you look at someone who's already perfectly curated and successful, and you're like, oh, I can never do that. I can never do that. Like they're this and they're that. But if you hear somebody's story, I think people's stories are the most powerful, not just teaching people about stuff, but actually listening to somebody's story is super powerful. And then you get to reflect that onto you and realize, well, if this person did it and they went through this, I can do the same thing too.
Just get some grit.
Get some grit. Love it.
Well, Max, you want to ask our one question we ask everyone?
So we have one question we ask everybody on the podcast.
Super important.
How do you incorporate alcohol into your fitness?
Okay, so this is a great question because
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love this question because for me, I'm a better human being and I'm happier when I'm not drinking. And my results are way better. So last year,
significant difference.
Massive difference. For me, for my body, massive difference. And alcohol is going to slow down your metabolism. Like for me, it changes everything. Because one, if you've gone out the night before, you're less likely to get up at 6 a.m., go to a hot yoga class or do a workout. And then you're not as strong because you're just not as strong.
And you smell like a liquor cabinet.
And you smell like a liquor cabinet, right? So last year, I stopped drinking from, because I was meant to be climbing Mount Everest in May. So I was training for that. And so I went to a big trip in Ecuador in January and was all ready to go until like obviously 3 weeks before. I've got all my bags packed. I'm ready. Mount Everest, I'm going to summit with you. No problem. And then obviously COVID happened. So no problem. I'm going to do it in 2022. So I was not drinking from December, I think all the way through to about March. And I was like, went through Christmas. I went through New Year's not drinking. And I was like, oh, like this is better. Like I feel better. I'm a better person. I love waking up early. I don't like waking up like late. I don't like feeling that hungover the next day. And so, you know, but during quarantine, I did start to drink a little bit. And then I go the other way. I'm like an all or nothing person because I was a big party animal back in London. So I've been there, I've been to parties, I was a club promoter, I was I've done all the things, right? So I know that industry and I know what happens when you start to drink more alcohol, who you bump into, and then the things that you start to do that get you up till 6 a.m. So it's like, I need to stay away from that because a couple of drinks in, I don't trust myself. And I'm the type of person that like wants to keep that buzz alive. I'm just like, yes, like I want more of it. I've had 2 drinks. Let's keep this party going. I'm chasing that feeling. Whereas when you're sober, you're just chasing the feeling of naturally being high. And that to me is real trueness anyway. And then the next day you're not having a bad side effect or feeling awful because you drank too much. So alcohol definitely does affect me personally from my results, but also my mental health as well. So yeah. I have a glass of Prosecco once and now and again, and sometimes I get a little bit too crazy, like once every 3 months, but really I'm just a better version of myself when I'm not drinking.
And I'm never drinking again. Thank you. You're very convincing.
At least Everest was, too bad Everest was closed.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I'd done a lot of training before. I went to Ecuador, I was in the Alps, and I was actually going with somebody who summited 15 times. He's one of the best guides in the whole world from the UK. And I was like ready, like mentally preparing yourself for something like that. I was like, I'm ready. Like I've done the training. I remember all the stuff. I've got my gear. And so having to reset yourself for that, it's going to be a challenge and something interesting, but that's what it is.
It's quite the dedication for an Instagram picture.
Hope you take a video too.
The gram, got to do it for the gram, right? It's also very expensive to do it for the Instagram. Yeah.
Well, the training.
I just love doing personal, like physical challenges. Like for me, like I like doing things like that. I'm not really like a massive runner or like a triathlon stuff, but I like doing like adventure things, like going on a crazy hike or, doing things that involve mountains. So I kind of found my thing.
You found the one.
Found my thing.
That's the biggest one we got.
Is the training for that just like climbing smaller mountains than the biggest one, or is there anything outside of that?
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's just going on to other mountains. Like I did one in Ecuador, got to like 21,000 feet, getting up at 1 a.m. in the morning. And then, you start walking in the dark because obviously you want to summit when the sun comes up because you don't want to summit during the day because the snow melts and then it gets dangerous. So I learned just a lot about that, equipment, your height, like altitude, sleeping at altitude, how your brain feels, how your head feels, like how your breath is. I mean, it's all that stuff. You can't recreate that just going on a hike, in Newport Beach. So the more time you can get in like snow, putting your crampons on, being in the freezing cold. That's the kind of training that I was doing.
Intense. That's crazy. Wow. Good for you. And then you're just like, well, guess I'll have to do it 2022, whatever.
Yeah.
That's another mindset thing. You're just like, well, nothing I can do, and then move forward.
Yeah, I think I had like 24 hours where I felt really sorry for myself when the COVID thing happened. And I remember driving back from a workout class and crying because I was like, that was my whole identity. I was going to Everest. I was going to take a picture at the top of Everest with my book. My book was coming out in September. And then I was going to do this book tour on this giant bus around America. And I was like, that's what I wanted to do. And I literally came back from the workout class and I was like, right, I just had a chat with myself. I'm like, right, 24 hours, you felt miserable. You felt sorry for yourself. Now let's change that narrative. And I just went full into live workouts. How much value can I provide? And that's just basically the switch that I flipped. And I've been doing that ever since. I don't think I've stopped.
Adaptive and resilient. Dang. I'm like exceptional at Photoshop. If you want to just send me a photo of you holding your book,
Love it.
Save you some time.
I swear that's me. I would get one of you on on Mars and maybe one on the moon too.
Yeah. While you're at it, just be on a whole bunch of stuff.
Perfect.
Of landmarks.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. This was so awesome to chat with you.
Yeah, no, super fun. I love this. Really enjoyed it. It was awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. And can you let the Fitheads know where they can find you online and how to get your app and everything?
Yeah, you guys can find me all over Instagram, Facebook, Rebecca Louise Fitness. If you want to head on over to my website, RebeccaLouise.com, and just click on Get Started. There'll be a free 30-day plan. You can just get involved there and it'll tell you all the things that we got going on that month.
Okay, awesome.
Love it.
And thank you to the Fit Heads. If you could rate and review on Apple Podcasts, that really helps us out. And we'll see you next week.